We're live, y'all. Christians in Action here at Brown. And our first ever HBCUs versus PWIs. I'm the moderator, DeMarcus Little Sr., a proud graduate of the Lemoyne College, the first black college in the city of Memphis. No, the first black college in the state of Tennessee. The only black college in the city of Memphis, and the fifth oldest black college in the United States. I have my panelists here with me. I want you all to introduce yourselves, starting with HBCUs. Give me your name, your school, your major, and you graduated.
Okay, well, my name is Allison Malone. I attend the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I'm an agricultural engineering major, and I graduate in 2022.
Hi, everyone. My name is Imani Campbell, and I'm a graduate of Fisk University, and I had my degree in political science and history, and I graduated in 2021.
All right. Now, let's introduce our PWI panelists.
I'm Amia Asibanjo. I graduated from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in 2020, and I have my Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience with a minor in Psychology.
My name is Christian Willett. I graduated from the University of Memphis in 2020. I have a bachelor's degree in history.
Now, for those who are joining us right now and might be a little confused about the lingo that I'm using, we have HBCUs and PWIs. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit, just so you all can understand what those acronyms mean. HBCUs are historical black colleges and universities, and PWIs are predominantly white institutions. All right. Now, just because there are a lot of black people in a school does not make it an HBCU. All right. I know that us staying in the city of Memphis, the population is 80% black. And I know a lot of people go to the University of Memphis. That is not considered an HBCU. All right. It is rooted deeply around slavery. These schools were slave schools for runaway slaves, so that they can get a decent education. Most HBCUs were established as a high school type level and then matriculated onto becoming colleges. PWIs, on the other hand, only admitted white students into their schools in the beginning. Until later down the line, they were admitting blacks. So now, I have a question for you all. And now I'm going to start with the PWIs. What made you choose your institution? Was it because of the prestige? Was it because of family? Was it because of scholarships? What was it?
So I originally wanted to go to University of Alabama. I've always wanted to go to SEC school because of like the opportunities that they have money-wise, technology-wise, and being like more innovative. I actually chose UT because they were talking money. UT offered me a full ride to go there. So that's my main reason for going to UT.
All right. Chris?
My main reason for going to the University of Memphis was because, I'm from Memphis. I grew up watching the Tigers, Penny Hardaway, Coach Calipari. We had Derrick Rose. I just grew up a big Memphis fan. My mom and her sisters, they went to University of Memphis. So for me, going to University of Memphis was kind of like my family did it. I was close to home. I had all the resources I need. And when I went on campus, it just gave me this feeling of like, man, I didn't even realize that the University of Memphis was this nice, this big, and that it had all the resources that I need that would help me graduate. And also, I had the opportunity to play football there, so that was another reason as well.
Okay.
I guess I could go first. So one of my main attractions to Fisk University was its home-like environment. Opposite of what Christian just said, actually. Fisk has a very small campus, and pretty much everybody that's on that campus. Like, if I'm on campus and I see someone who don't go there, I can instantly call them. I was like, that's not a Fisk guy. They don't even look like a Fisk guy, It's that type of environment. And that's one thing that I really cherish even more so as a graduate than I did coming into the university. I also was afforded the opportunity of having a full ride as an Erastus Milo Cravath scholar, presidential scholar, rather. in addition to all of that, Fisk University has a history steeped in advocacy and activism. And when I was coming into the university, I had the career aspiration of being a civil rights attorney, so that was very appealing to me as well.
Okay.
Well, one of the reasons I chose my university, just like Imani, was the home field. When I got on campus, I really felt like I could belong there. And I felt like that I just wouldn't be a number, but people would know me for who I am and know my name. So that was important to me. And then I also had some scholarships going into UAPB. I had an academic scholarship, and then I had a choir scholarship as well. And so that was great. And also the experiences when I came and visited the university, the staff really made it a good experience, and they allowed me to go audition for different programs that they had on campus. So when I got on campus, I was already in those programs, and I kind of had a leg up over other students. So I really enjoyed just being there and feeling like I was one even when I wasn't at the university yet. So.
Okay. Now, I want to do a quick segue because I want to go back to what Chris said, and I want to ask you all. But I'm going to start with Chris. Chris, you said that, you went to U of M because you were home, and I know that all you all were high school graduates in the city of Memphis, correct?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Majority. So I guess my question then, did your schools, counselors, teachers ever introduce to you or talk about or inform you about HBCUs?
Never.
You mean my high school counselors?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, no, my high school counselors never informed me about HBCUs. I never even took a visit to a HBCU, or I never knew anything about HBCUs. My situation is kind of tricky because I actually went to 3 colleges. I went to University of Memphis for my freshman year, and then I transferred to another PWI my sophomore year. Then I transferred to a HBCU my junior year. Came back and finished at University of Memphis my second semester, junior year and senior year. So it was actually intriguing because when I went to that HBCU, that was my first time actually being there and
interacting.
I kind of saw what a lot of my friends who went to HBCUs talked about, and I enjoyed my HBCU experience. I went to a little HBCU that wasn't as big, but it was a good experience as far as teachers and work. But in high school, I never introduced me to HBCU.
Okay.
I would actually say for me, I got more of my introduction to HBCUs in middle school. We actually got taken on trips. We went to Nashville, we saw Fisk, we saw TSU. So that was really my only exposure to HBCUs was middle school.
What school?
I went to Highland Oaks Middle.
Okay.
So we went there, but that's pretty much all the exposure that I had to it.
Well, my high school, they presented both, but I really learned about HBCUs from just my different guidance counselors because we had different ones every year. And so they would have like the college fairs at the school actually where we go to the cafeteria and we would get to meet the HBCUs and PWIs. So it was a mix of both. So they gave you kind of the equal opportunity to go to wherever school you wanted to.
So I went to high school in Olive Branch, Mississippi. My high school never introduced me to HBCU. However, honestly, ever since I can remember, my parents were talking about, "Ooh, Imani, you're going to Spelman College." I remember, I was up there, 8 years old. We're taking trips to Spelman. And then in addition to that, I was in this program called Girls Inc., and the branch off of that program was the Eureka program, which was like a STEM program for girls. And we did college tours all the time. So every single college tour we did was HBCU schools.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. If y'all see me snap every once in a while, that's just my teaching is in there.
Oh, okay.
So just snap. All right. And no, I'm not snapping for the HBCUs. You know what? I shouldn't wear this shirt. Now I feel biased. So question. Now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the inside of these schools. Let's talk about student life, student activities, Greek life, even down to cafeteria food, which definitely plays a big role.
Wow,
right?
y'all got us beat on that.
So my question is, what does student life look like on your prospective campuses? We'll start with you.
Okay, on my campus, I love the student life on my campus. Like when you walk around, you know everybody that's walking around because we're a relatively small campus. And so when you see people, like you walk around, they're like, hey, how you doing? Hey. That's awesome. Greek life is really good. I'm not a part of Greek life, but definitely they're represented on my campus very well. We have a bunch of awesome extracurricular activities and things like that. Like I'm in the choir, so I love being in the choir, and I see band students all the time, and they love it sometimes, and then sometimes they don't because of the long hours. But at the end of the day, when it all comes down to the performances, we all love what we're in.
You gonna sing us a song?
No.
No?
not gonna do that one. But also, man, the cafeteria food, I'm not gonna tell a story. Sometimes it don't hit, but on Wednesdays and Fridays it hits.
Come on.
Wednesday, fried chicken Wednesday with the macaroni and the greens.
Before you finish that, and I want us to say this in unison.
Yes.
On Fridays.
Fried fish Friday.
Come on, I say unison. We're gonna still say it on Friday we eat fried fish. That's what it is.
Always.
Always.
My bad. That's funny. HBCUs are so funny.
So, Chris.
So when I went to HBCU, I couldn't stand fried chicken wings.
That's hilarious.
Every Wednesday, I was like,
That's what we
every
expected.
Wednesday.
I didn't care about Mondays, Tuesdays.
So at the University of Memphis,
I like fried chicken wings.
student life. I played football my first years there, so I kind of didn't get the experience here because I was always with football. But then my junior year was the first year I was actually be able to join clubs and meet people that didn't play football and other things. The campus is big, so it's impossible to know everyone. It's a very diverse school. You have every different race. But I will say this, the black community there knows most of the black community there. The campus is always doing something. Like sometimes they brought a zoo. They bring a zoo to the UC. Sometimes they have like a fair out there. They have a concert. They got different stuff going on. So it's student life is pretty good there, man. Football games are big there. Like University of Memphis football just got up. Like when I was there, keep getting better and better. So football games are always big there. Fraternity life for African Americans not very big. I'll say that like the black fraternities are very small. Like for instance, I went to TSU because my friend goes there. I just went there with him to visit. And man, their plaque, they have like the Kappa plaques and all these big plaques, but in University of Memphis, they got like one little section.
Little small plaques.
So so that's probably one of the bigger difference. Food-wise, we got Chick-fil-A, Panda Express.
Dining dollars.
We got like a little mini gas station. We got like a Tiger Eats where you can order food like chicken wings and just all different type of stuff. Then the UC is huge, so we got a 24-hour computer lab, so you can always get your work done. The library is huge, you can get your work done there. So that was a big reason why I went to University of Memphis, because it's just like everything I needed was there. Like, why leave? It was just no reason for me to leave. Like, I wasn't one of the people, I got to get away from home. I just need to be able to have everything I need to graduate. That was all I was more focused on. So
okay.
Well, I would say at UT, it's a predominantly white institution, so that's what you see. But we do have this thing that we call Black UT. And it's pretty much the black students, and it's really a home away from home because a lot of the black students at UT are from Memphis. So they can really, like, people at the school can pick us out based off how we talk. They, like, I've been in the elevator and they're like, you're from Memphis, right? And I'm like, yeah. We're big on sports. Of course, the games are huge. That's a big thing. Like, we've had where they cancel class because the game was on Friday. So it's that big there. We actually do have fried chicken on Wednesdays and fish on Friday.
Now, is that for the whole campus, or is that just in one building?
It's a building. It's like in one of the apartments. They have like a restaurant in there, and you can go in there, and they have it like that. that's a big thing. Greek life is growing at UT. I'm actually a part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And so that was a big thing. A lot of the African American students, that's part of what we do to stay rooted in our community. And that's pretty much life at UT.
Oh, I didn't get to answer the question.
Yeah, my
Don't
bad.
leave out
Yeah, no,
this.
you're right,
I
you're
know
right,
we
you're right,
small,
you're right.
but gotta represent. So first thing that I want to say about student life on campus is diversity is way more than race. Like, because at Fisk, we have Nigerians, we have Caribbeans, we have people, what's that country called? I cannot even remember it right now, but it's near India. Nepal. So I really enjoy like experiencing those different cultures, because one time we had on camp, or actually no, we pretty much have it every year, Jouvert. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's basically like this, like basically the kids from the islands, they would, the Caribbean students would throw it, and it's a party like where you run around, you throw paint on it, one another. It's so fun. I love it so much. And then they play their like Caribbean music. You're like, you know, it's fun. It's fun. Just know that. And also, like, one of my closest friends is actually Nigerian, so that's been a really cool experience. You know, just having their food and you know, like learning more about their culture, their music, that type of stuff. So I'll say that. Also, like, the student life on campus is very friendly. And honestly, at Fisk, I know like at other HBCUs, we talk about like how, oh, you gotta dress, but honestly, I'm like, Fisk University is my home. I don't be like just dressing up all the time when I go there. And I like that. It's kind of like a come as you are, like you're at home, like people will accept you. And I just really like the fact that, like, sometimes I just be on campus and I be loud and I be acting a hot mess.
And nobody judges.
No one judges. Like me and my friends will literally be in the caf and we're like, okay, yes. And everybody be like, okay, back to their business, because they know on one day or another that's gonna be them, you know. And I also like how we have Greek life, but unlike PWIs, from what I've heard, like HBCUs, and especially at Fisk University, tend to have a more symbiotic relationship with their fraternities and sororities.
No real beef. Not no real.
Yeah, no real beef. Honestly, like just don't step on their plots.
That's it.
But I mean, other than that, like, I feel like they contribute to campus life rather than hinder it.
Yeah.
And I also think that, just like with Fisk, it's so close to the city, so like Nashville in totality becomes a part of the campus life at Fisk University. Because, child, I'd be on campus, I'd be like, y'all, it's time to go. We need to get off campus. And I like one of the things I really enjoyed doing on campus was Every Nation Campus Ministry. So that's just basically a college ministry, you know, that it's like preaches about the love of Jesus, and that afforded us like connections all around the city. So a lot of times we call up our friends like at another college around Nashville called Belmont, and we're like, hey, Tegan, Jenna, let's go. Like, what we doing? What's popping? We're going to study over at Belmont today. You know, that type of stuff. So
Okay.
there you go.
And I think one thing that we have not touched on when it comes to student life, and let's talk about homecoming. Now, before I ask this, I'm gonna ask you all two separate questions.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a predominantly white institution's homecoming?
No.
Somewhat.
What was it like? Or I guess the better question would be, was it like I have to go? Let me say that. Or you just went because you just wanted to go?
No, well, actually, when I went, I didn't know that homecoming was going on.
It was just an accident.
So, yeah.
Okay. Now, have you all been to an HBCU homecoming?
No.
Never.
Yeah, but not really, but yeah.
Okay. So we're kind of like in the melting point. So we're going to talk a little bit about homecoming when it comes to a HBCU.
Okay.
And then just real quick, and then we're going to talk about homecoming at PWI.
And these are just generalities, right?
Generalities.
Okay, cool.
Well, generally for me, especially since I'm a choir kid, when it comes to homecoming, we sing for the different little conventions they have for the alumni and all that stuff. And one thing that I really just love about my HBCU and our choir is we do a homecoming roundup. So after we go to the alumni assembly, we all come together, and it's all the old heads, the Greeks from the choirs, they all come and we all get together and sing together. And it's like really fulfilling to see, like, you know, we still sing some of the same songs. So it's people from like, they're like in their 60s or 70s that come and we all just get together and sing. And it's so fun because you're like, wow, like this group, that's for choir. This group has been around for so many years that it's me, my age, and people who like live everywhere that love the choir. Football is always awesome. We don't always win, but it's still good. We have a good time, you know, having tailgating and the band playing and the bands battling the other bands that come. It's always a great time, always.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love HBCU Fisk Homecoming because it's kind of like how we were talking about earlier. Like at an HBCU, you already have that more type of home environment. So it's like when it's a homecoming, it's literally like coming home. And like, especially like with alumni who just like recently graduated, they're coming back. And then, so Fisk, the way it's set up is it's like this is like Jubilee, or you don't know what that
Jubilee
is.
Singers.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about like a hall, like a building.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But basically, like there's a big stretch down like the middle of the campus, and all down the on both lines, there's just like all types of like concessions and all that type of stuff, and it's all free. And they just got all this delicious food, boil, everything. And then during the night, they play music and people are partying, and it's really nice. And they also have like local parties, and I don't even know how they set this up, but like they bring like a little party bus, and then you can go to little parties or whatever. It's nice. It's nice.
Okay.
Well, do you want the black students
No,
homecoming?
well, just in general,
or
like the school's homecoming.
Well-
but I'm glad that you told me that clearly.
it's a difference.
Clearly now,
Look
I
who
go
you're
to a PWI, not me, but just in general. I go to a PWI, and now I have to then plan my own separate homecoming.
Yeah.
Did you all know that?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing.
So just to school people, most predominantly white institutions also have an organization called the BSA, which is Black Student Association, or
You got
Black
BCPC.
Alumni, or Black Alumni. So the Black alumni and the Black students come together, and they make their own homecoming on campus. So technically, there's two homecomings going on at once: a black one and a non-black one.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Wow.
So,
can you give us just
in general.
the big homecoming,
Okay.
the school, the
school
official homecoming?
it's like a series-long week of events where they do different stuff. They give out free stuff, free food, carnivals, all of that. And on Saturday they have the game and tailgating and things like that.
Okay. Do you all enjoy yourselves there?
You go your freshman year, you'll experience the UT homecoming
Right.
your freshman year to see the game and how it is and everything. But as far as like when you have your black UT, we have this place called Fiji Island.
Familiar with it?
So it's basically where the white fraternities allow us to use their lawn.
Oh, wow.
And we pretty much have our own tailgate. People are out there grilling, talking.
So do
everything.
y'all have to rent it out, or? Okay.
They just let us use it.
Hey, y'all can use our land and have your parties here.
I say when it comes to homecoming, I think HBCU's homecoming probably way better than most PWIs. I know one thing about homecoming: nobody go to class that week. I'd still go to class.
I
I'm
still
the
go to
only
class.
person.
Well,
in class.
we pride ourselves on scholarships.
Shoulder.
A lot of people don't go to class too. I won't say that for homecoming. But like she said, it's a lot of extra events. Like she said, it's not at the PWI. It's not as it's just like a school thing, not like a family community type feel. It's just more of a bunch of events and parties going on and people just like a concert and stuff like that. But my friend went to TSU and he tells me that at their homecoming, it's a lot of fun and good stuff going on. But I don't think being homecoming not an experience that just stood out to me at all going to my school. So
right, so it was just like, oh, it's homecoming.
It's
we ain't
like
going to
it's
class.
homecoming. Yeah, I mean it's not that popping. Nah, so.
Right.
Because at a PWI, like homecoming is kind of like a average week, honestly.
It's just not like
just like a regular,
just like
game weekend.
Game weekend, yeah. And they give out, like you said, free stuff, a couple events.
All right.
But it's never like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying too much attention, but I don't remember nothing extra going on at homecoming that made me want to get out of my seat. So.
Well, if you all did go to Southern Heritage Classics, then technically you went to a HBCU homecoming because those are two HBCUs on game day, and everybody tailgating, and honestly, all the food is free for the most part.
Yep.
Kind of like a little home. Yeah, right.
Not a little. Southern Heritage Classics is definitely.
It is though.
The event here in city, if we all agree.
It is.
So I guess what else I would ask. Let's talk about just being on campus, being, African Americans, and you hear the term, you got to work twice as hard than your counterpart, and your counterpart may be, a majority, a white person in your class. Do you feel like that applies to you while you're in a PWI and also an HBCU?
Most definitely. I think it's definitely true because when you're in the classroom, it can be a classroom of 200 and you can be the only black person in there.
Wow.
I've had experiences in classes where I'm pretty much that person that just doesn't say anything, but I know what's going on. And I've had an experience in one of my foreign language classes where the teacher knew I knew what was going on. I just didn't say anything in class, but she asked me a question that no one could get the answer to, and I answered it, and everybody looked shocked. Like, how does she know the answer? She's never paying attention, or she's never... So, like, little stereotypes like that, or if you know what's going on and everybody's lost kind of situation. So I definitely agree with you have to do it twice as bad.
I'll say this. My GPA the whole time at University of Memphis, it was like a 3.6 or up higher. I never got a scholarship after I applied. So I think that might have, I definitely think me being black because there's no way I shouldn't have got one scholarship and, something. So I didn't like that.
So and not to cut you off, but do you believe that financial aid did everything that they could in their powers to make sure that you got a scholarship?
I definitely didn't. But I would say, some classes was like that where it's 100. I'm on, one black person, 100. Some classes were more intimate, maybe 20, 30 students. I feel like I don't feel like I was ever competing with anybody else or because I was at a PWI. But I do feel like that you have to show your teachers that, oh, he's not, you smart. It's like, I don't think that they expect it from you, like, oh, he's black, he's just smart. I think you got to prove yourself some days to, like, really show, that you're smart. I don't think it's no real pressure, but that social, just that feeling, like, that I do belong.
You got to overly prove yourself.
And it's something like, and I took, in this one class I took African American history taught by a black dude, and he
was that an elective course or?
I took it I'm a history major, so I needed that course.
Right.
But he used to really put pressure on white people in that class, and I used to be crazy, and he kind of tried to expose some of that. How African Americans do most times have to work super hard, especially when they're in an environment where it's mostly whites versus HBCU where it's mostly black. So when you're in an environment like that, they do respect you because they know where you come from, they know who you are. So I say it is from my experience at University of Memphis, I wouldn't say it was a huge challenge because it wasn't, I never felt any huge prejudice or racism or anything like that. But I know here at Tennessee, that's a much bigger PWI than University of Memphis.
Okay.
But sometimes here and there.
Okay.
And we actually have a class, I took it, that he was kind of mentioning, like how you put pressure on them. We have a class called Prejudice and Racism, where they basically, the teacher like went hard about it, basically letting the white students know you're prejudiced.
Now, was this a part of your elective course or what?
That one was an elective, but as you are required to take like African American history as well.
Okay.
At some point.
And that's what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is a core course for HBCU. You have to know African American history. Like that's like, and let me know if I'm correct.
Yeah, like we have to learn African American history, and then like the history of your university is like one of your core classes.
Yeah, like
Okay.
so. Have you all felt any tensions about, while you're in class, of your possible white counterparts?
Well, with me and my classes, we have very like small intimate classes. So maybe like for certain classes, for like the main core classes, it may be like 20, 30 people at the max. And then for me in an agricultural field, it'll get down to maybe like 10 really. I don't necessarily have with my other counterparts of like having issues with that. But one thing I do have sometimes issues with is because I'm a young African American woman in agriculture, and so I sometimes have to make myself stand out more than my male counterparts because they look at me like, you don't want to be in ag, And so they're like, you want to be outside in the dirt and all this. And I'm like, actually, that's what I love. So I don't have necessarily like against like Caucasian people, but I have to work hard to say I'm a woman that's in this field and that I love doing it. And that just because, I may be a fair-skinned African-American woman doesn't mean that I, don't work as hard as anybody else. So with that sector, I do feel that pressure sometimes. And so like sometimes one of my teachers tried to, when I was changing my major, he was like, are you sure you want to change? You have to take calculus. And I was like, yeah, I'm aware of this. I want to change. And they're like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So definitely being the female and male perspective, for me, definitely, sometimes I do get like a little bit discriminated against because I'm a woman in agriculture.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So at my HBCU, we're HBCU, so I really didn't have many white counterparts, but I never really had that experience. And that's one of the things that I love the most about this university. Yeah, I did not have to think about it. In fact, it was the very opposite. My professors, honestly, really most people I really came in contact expected greatness from me. They expected greatness from me. And I had white professors. Let me get that. Like, actually, one of my history professors, he's white. I call him my grandfather. Listen, please. Like, everybody on that campus is just like, honestly, just even talking about some of the opportunities that I was afforded on campus, like I applied for the Rhodes Scholarship and I became a finalist for it. And that's really due to the faculty and pushing me and saying, hey, you can do this. Even when I felt like kind of shrinking back myself, they're like, why are you not going back? Why are you not going after this? It was more that type of thing. And I was always the person at the front of the class being like, oh, I have the answer, or challenging a point of thought, frame of thinking. But no, yeah, I was always challenged and always had high expectations put on me, and I appreciated that.
So my next question is, what would you say would be the pros of going to PWI or an HBCU? What would you say that you going to these schools, this exposure, this experience, how has that created some pros for you in your life?
Okay.
We can go with you.
So you're asking what are the pros of going to HBCU? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, for me, I love my HBCU, even sometimes when every school has its drawbacks.
Yeah.
But I love the home field. I love that the staff and the faculty, like, they're always pushing me for greatness. Like they're always like, Allison, you can start researching this, or you can do that, or you can go work in so and so's lab. Just talk to him, and then you can be up there working in his lab. I've always been afforded great opportunities at my HBCU with like the STEM Academy. Being able to have like different internships, like one of our career services coaches, she's always on us making sure we have an internship for the summer, making sure we have everything that we need for like interviews, or when we have the career fairs. Like they always make sure we have what we need. It's never like, if there's something you need, you can come up to anybody and they'll help you no matter what. And so that's one thing I really love about my school. And I'm pretty sure that's just at HBCUs in general. Like, they want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you fail, because they know that at the end of the day, when you get in the real world, the community that you're in now is not the exact same that's going to be when you graduate and get into, the workforce. And so they're trying to equip you with everything that they can to make sure that you are the best of the best, that you're the cream of the crop. So
yeah, and I would just even piggyback off what Allison said. Honestly, my freshman year, I remember I was seeking an internship at the state capitol in Nashville, and the president of my university helped me to get it. I remember scheduling a meeting with him and telling him that I had emailed Representative Harold Love, and he said, "Oh, well, actually, I'm about to go meet with him. Let me mention that you emailed him." And from that point on, the rest is history, and that's afforded me many great contacts throughout the city of Nashville, all through that one contact. So I just really love the way in which it's very level at HBCUs, and that's not all, and this is at from the president on down in this university institution, and I'm sure other HBCUs, that everybody there wants to see you succeed. Everybody there, and honestly, for me, one of my passions is education, and what I see almost at every level from down here to up here, when the people who are instructing you set high expectations, that's what you achieve. When the people instructing you set low expectations, that's what happens. And that's not always the case, but generally that's what happens. And especially when you're going in that transition from high school to college and already having to go through, okay, this is your first step out from home. This is the time where you're trying to find who you are. You don't want to go into an environment that's going to beat you over the head. You want to go into an environment that's going to nurture you and push you to be the best that you can be. And that's what Fisk University did for me.
Man, I thought I was going to be the spokesperson for HBCUs, but I almost teared up over here. And before I go to you all, quick question, and I'm trying to make a point here. What's your president's name?
Well, the current one is Van Newkirk, but that wasn't the president that did that for me. It was actually the past one.
Okay, which was?
President Kevin Rome.
Okay.
Well, our chancellor is Lawrence D. Alexander at UAPB.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you all interacted with your presidents before?
Well, not necessarily on a personal level.
Right, maybe not a sit-down conversation, but hey, what's up, President?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
We walk around campus and we see him.
So you see him more than once?
Oh yeah. He's there on campus. He's there for every event, even the little choir events, because people try to knock us. But even for all the little choir events, he's there, the band events, the different things that go on campus. Yeah, he's always there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And now to ask you all, what do you feel like you love so much about attending that PWI?
Honestly, I feel like I'm prepared for America, because what I have to live at UT is what we live in the U.S. And also, I also feel like, because when people see UT graduates are everywhere, any place that you look, I'm sure you can find a UT grad. But when they see UT on that paper, they're like, I want to interview with them. Or it opens many doors for you. So that's one of the big reasons that I went to UT. So like my class, when I went to my job interview for the job I have now, and I had on my class ring for UT, any questions oh, you went to UT? Oh, we have this person. No, this person teaches at UT Medical here, and things like that. So that's a big connection to it.
Okay. Chris?
Man, I think the biggest pro for me going to University of Memphis and just enjoying it there was they had everything I needed to help me graduate. Like just anything. Like they had, you know, I don't know about the HBCUs that they went to, but you could get a personal tutor for any subject. You can schedule for any time you want. You can, you know, you have 24 hours access to the computer lab. So if if it's 12 o'clock at night, you forget to do that assignment, you can go in there and type it real fast and do that.
But not you, because you always submitted your work on time.
Oh, yeah. Nah, I don't think that. Look, time to do 11:59. I'm in there 11:30. I'm in there, so yeah. They also got so many different resources as far as people who can help you. So actually, University of Memphis actually offers, you get 12 free counseling sessions with a professional psychiatrist. So if you're going through stuff like that or thinking about committing suicide, you have that on campus if you're going through it. You know, you got the health clinic on campus where you get free health care if, let's say, something wrong with you. So it just was everything that I needed was there to help me, you know, get to where I wanted to be. And also, when I was thinking about graduate school, I didn't want to just go to so many different graduate schools. University of Memphis had the same program that I needed for me to get my graduate degree as well, which I'm seeking right now. So it just had everything that I needed. Like it wasn't, and I think what she said was a great question. It got me prepared for knowing how to deal with every type of person. Cause you know, when you go to HBCU, you mostly dealing with black teachers and, you know, black people. But when you go to PWI, you're dealing with a lot of different people. Like you're dealing with teachers that are, and I know they have a lot of teachers too like this, but they're from foreign countries. A lot of white teachers, and you kind of get to see, and it's really more so, and that's my difference between when I went to PWI versus HBCU. HBCU is more ran like a village of like black people helping each other, like, oh, I got you, like, you know, we in this together. A PWI is more like a structured like institution, like you better have this, you better do this, do that in order to get to there. It's not like somebody just gonna come, you know, hold your hand sometimes and be like, I'm gonna really help you through this. It's more like, hey, you better figure this out. And so I think that prepares you for life in many ways, you know, versus sometimes at HBCU, I know like it's a great, they're more hands-on. You know, most people, they tell me, and I'm like, and some of the stories, like she's even saying about being here, my teachers weren't their hands-on trying to help me get scholarships and do that. They didn't know my name, some of my teachers. So that's kind of, but that's kind of a pro though. It gets you prepared for life.
Can I say something?
So do you believe, so do you believe, and based on, I'm just using your words, preparing you for life in the sense of racism and understanding that I'm black and you white, and this is how life is going to be. Do you think that's a good thing, honestly? I know that there's stories about PWIs who are treating blacks, you know, unfair.
Yeah.
Stories about white students hanging monkeys on dorms, you know, making that environment unsafe. So one would then assume that you're not necessarily prepared, but traumatized about this, the fact that we have this perception that this is how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm in white America and I am a black person and I'm going to a PWI and this is how I'm supposed to react. I don't need no handouts, although we've been in slavery for over 400 years. I don't need nobody to help me with my classes. I just want y'all to feed me to the wolves and I'm just going to understand. I'm just going to figure this thing called life out all by myself. You know, and we have this, or, you know, and I do agree, people at predominantly white institutions make these comments. Hey, look, you know, I didn't have, and was proud. Hey, I didn't need teachers to help me graduate. Yeah. Or I didn't have that love. That's like somebody bragging about, my parents did love me. I got this on my own.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't need no help. No, love. Care.
I think, and I like what you said. And I think that the biggest thing I think of is this, you know, if we just look at the spectrum of the world and we really look at what it's coming to, you know, you're gonna be faced with some type of prejudice or racism.
And this is true, but do you believe that that's something that you should just be acceptance.
Now it's but it's something that you got to experience.
It can wait,
because
right?
I would hate for a black person to experience racism at their career job the first week of their career job, because if you've never experienced it or you don't know it, how are you going to, how is that going to, it might hit you different, like, whoa, this how, or if you never experienced being around white people, there's something that you have to, I ain't gonna say, it's just something that you have to know. It's kind of like code switching. You gotta know how to code. You gotta know how to do these things. So because this is what it is. It's not a hidden. It's not fake.
So and I know we on a limit. And I'm gonna give you all both your thing. I want it to be clear that not only is HBCU predominantly black, keyword is predominantly black, which also means that we have, white counterparts. Do we have as many as PWIs? No. There's the news. We turn on TV and see racism. We can go outside of the school and go to a Walmart, go to a corner store, go to a mall, go to Antioch, or not Antioch, Nashville, even parts of Nashville. We can go to Collierville, Cordova, Bahia, and experience these same things without being in school. I think
but it's still different levels to it though. At the same time, when you got a teacher riding you all semester because like I'm here versus going to the store one time, so it's a different experience.
So do you believe?
So it's about the experience.
So do you believe that you can't build that while not going to a PWI? For example, Fisk University, who held their sit-ins, who were preparing themselves for riots. They were in basements. Getting beat up by their own people so that they can endure what life has to offer. So, yes, we don't experience racism on our campus. We definitely do feel safe. I don't have to look behind me and see somebody using racial slurs that I don't appreciate using. And I know this y'all panel, I'm just a moderator. I just get emotional. But, I know that, we are also prepared. History tells it at Fisk, at Lemoyne, at Howard, at UAPB.
But tell me, who do you think faces more racism every day on their campus? Me and her at UT Knox and University of Memphis, or those two at Fisk and at Pine Bluff?
I'm pretty sure.
Who do you think every day? Every day.
I'm pretty sure
you said, think about how many times you go to class? 3 times a week? Think about me going to a class 3 times a week where the professor don't know your name, ain't trying to know your name, and she really don't even think you that smart. And then she really gonna pick on you at least 2 or 3 times this semester, and really might play with your grade and might not even want to mess with you at all.
If I can interject.
You see what I'm saying? So it's every single day.
It sounds traumatizing.
So I think there's more, and that's why I say, it's more so preparing you, because if you're facing that every day, that's gonna get you prepared for what it is.
If I can interject. Oh, can I go real quick?
Yeah, you first.
Thanks. So I think we're missing the point that HBCU students went to high school, and a lot of us have come from predominantly white high schools. We face racism. We have all of our lives to learn how to deal with racism, right? But what we don't have all of our lives is to learn our history. What we don't have all of our lives is to have people there who expect more from us. To the point where we expect more from ourselves if we did not before. And I also even make the point that HBCUs got clout. Let's talk about that, because I'm actually doing an internship at one of the most prestigious law firms in the United States. And it's because of Fisk's connection with that law firm named Cravath, because Erastus Milo Cravath is Paul Cravath's father. And through that connection with Fisk, that's how I became a double Cravath scholar, if you will. So that's just so with this racism piece, I think that the education that HBCUs provide gives you kind of an armor to go out into the world. That's the reason why HBCUs have so many graduates. That's why you see HBCU students are some of the main ones fighting, like leading these protests, leading like whatever, like community programs, because they've got the education back home to actually understand the issues that we see every day. Like, I was reading a book this past semester. What was it called? It was called The Price of the Ticket. And then there was another one called African Americans in the Political System. And like, I was like, wow, people actually write about this. Like, even this this ideology of how Black people identify as a group. Like that's written about in scholarly work, but you would never know that going to I won't say you never know that going to a predominantly white institution, but it's not talked about as widely. It's not branded to you that, you know, your blackness is not inferiority. Your blackness is a part of what makes you great because it's you. And that's not saying that makes you better than the other races, but it does make you equivalent. You know, it makes you equal. So, okay.
I would just say for me, I went to a predominantly Black high school, 98%. So one of the reasons that I did go to UT is so I could see what it's like. And so for me, even going to UT, one thing that I would say is it showed me what I want to see. And my future goals. So like one of my future goals is to own a neuroscience clinic that does everything neuro, and it's focused on helping minorities get out there. That's what UT showed me that I want to do, because my major is predominantly white men. So that's the change that I want to see based off of what I saw at UT.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'd say this too, just to piggyback off what both of y'all are saying. You can't compare high school setting and at the store in Carville setting versus going to college for a 4-year institution. Because we're talking about college is supposed to get you prepared for corporate America, for your job, for your field. So because that's what you're going to college for. So, you know, I went to college to be a history major, then to be a history teacher, right? So when I went to my